Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to Circling Seattle Sports. This is a new weekly show we'll be doing called Right as Rain. I thought it was funny. There's the saying right as rain, and just replace the rain part with how you spell the Seattle rain. Humor me, please. I'm here with our rain writer, Becca. I know Becca from Lookout Landing with the Mariners, and it had been expressed to me that Becca wanted to do some rain related stuff and some other things. You'll notice we've been doing some Seattle Tempest and Cascades coverage. That's all Becca. So we'll be getting into that in the ultimate scene here in Seattle. So we wanted to do this. Just I've been wanting to, add different shows to the mix, not only, for the content, of course, but also, just because, only so many people look at written stuff. Um, and especially with teams like the Rain, there really aren't shows that are around currently for that. So I figured, hey, we're a place that, emphasizes the women's sports coverage. Why don't we start that? So, Becca, it's great to have you on and have you joining us, not only to, do this, but of course, having added you since what, the summer, I think. God, it's been a long time, but we'll get into it here. The rain off season is fully underway, and um, there's been one really big major move. But otherwise, the club hasn't done too much outside of announcing end of season roster and a few players, basically being, uh, with the posts that were made from the social media, we basically learned that they're not coming back, right? So we'll start with the Lynn Williams trade. Back in late December, the club acquired Lynn Williams and goalkeeper Cassie Miller from Gotham in exchange for Jalen Howell, international roster spot, and $70,000 in allocation money. Becca, on one hand, you do get Lynn Williams. You get a goal scorer. You wanted a goal scorer. I don't know how many times, we talked about that. But at least to me, it is fascinating that Jalen Howell is like in and out of here after a few months, right? What did you um think about the trade itself, and if you have any sort of thoughts on the fact that it was Jalen who does the in and out here?
Yeah, I mean, kind of like you said, like anytime you can get a player of that caliber on your team, like obviously that's something you want. But I was watching slash listening to Sam Mewis's podcast the other day, and like she had her on, and it sounded like it wasn't exactly like there is kind of messy at some points, which you don't love to hear. With I mean, she was obviously was very excited to be coming to Seattle, but it sounded like um things were leaked when they shouldn't have, and like she didn't get to have a proper like her teammates found out before she could tell them, and I don't know, it just seemed like there were a lot of different things that happened that like maybe weren't the best for her to transition to us, but I think obviously like definitely want her on the team. And I was surprised that Jalen Howell was the piece going to the other side. I mean, I it was definitely a little unexpected for me, I would say.
Yeah, because at least with the Howell departure, right? Like with Bethany, sorry, with Bethany Balcer, with the reports that she wanted out as previously as when she signed her last extension. It was fascinating, and obviously, the club wanted to honor that as they'd honored some of the loans, like Sofia Huerta's loan to OL, right? Olympic Lyon. So, they wanted to do right by her, and they acquired Jalen Howell, who I imagine was surprised by that trade, right? And I don't know, it's Jalen's pretty young. You figure that, with Jess likely done after this upcoming season, you've got one of your midfield like pillars in Howell. You're gonna, have her be a really big piece there. And, that brings us to Lynn here. And yeah, did peek a little bit about how that there's might be some stuff going on in Gotham. It was interesting to see them send Yasmin Ryan to Houston. That felt like a really big deal, right? Um, but and there had been reports that Lynn had wanted to kind of end her career on the West Coast, right? And
Yeah.
I believe she's under contract just through this upcoming season. I will double check that so I'm not spreading misinformation. But if that's the truth and it's just a 1 year deal, it's fascinating to me that you not only Howell, but there's the roster spot as well. And I don't know we'll kind of talk about the optimism for the rest of the offseason here in a second. But I'm really hoping it's not just, hey, here's a 1 year rental. Here is a young midfielder that could have been, a big part of this roster, for years to come. Here's an international roster spot. That, who knows what you would have been able to get in that position. Um, yeah, she's under contract. Lynn Williams is on contract through 2025 as a free agent, unrestricted free agent, when 26 rolls around. So, I had heard some talk that there would be some discussions about a new contract for Lynn Williams. We haven't obviously gotten that yet, but I don't know. Do you see why I'm a little concerned, right? Is like if this is just a rental for a year, even 2 years maybe. Um, but it's an interesting flip. Just how Bethany had wanted out, in the first place to acquire Jalen, and now Jalen's, I had come to terms with it. I've been fine with it because, Bethany Balcer is a big deal with this club. You bring her in, not necessarily the biggest name, wins Rookie of the Year, gets the Chipotle gift card because of it, and that became its own piece of NWSL lore, right? Um, it's like your goal leader or tied for your goal leader in every year that she's here. And I had really thought like seeing her wear the captain's armband this past year, I was like, that's your next, like that could be your future when the Lou Barnes just Fishlock are done. I was fully invested in that idea. And then, that's not what happens. And so with Jalen Howell, seeing, a leader that she's been big in the community, obviously in Louisville, and you bring her in here, and I wasn't going to judge her too much this season based on, fitting into the club and trying to get the right fit for her with Laura. Um, and just because this was such a weird year for the club, just uncharacteristic defensive mistakes and stuff like that. And obviously the goal scoring issue still being present. I wanted to see a full season with her under Laura's tutelage, and we won't get that. But again, I'm not at all complaining that we get Lynn Williams, right? Cassie Miller makes sense now that Laurel Ivory is gone, so you have your presumed backup. But I'm just very intrigued to see. Obviously it'll be a year or two down the line before we know, hey, what was Lynn Williams's tenure here? Um, that part is what's fascinating to me, if that makes sense. I hope I'm not too ranty with that, but
No, I definitely agree. It definitely, yeah, I agree with that.
yeah, so that was kind of my first thing. I was like, oh, we're getting Lynn Williams. And I think I texted you on our Slack. I was like, oh, this is big. And then I was like, Jalen Howell, because I
Yeah,
know
yeah,
Gotham was dealing with some midfield issues, right? To an extent. So I don't
yeah,
know. I mean, that's interesting, and that's like the one big move we have. We transition over here to the free agents, and we kind of collabed on a few things with the written wise with the end of the season roster decisions, right? With the Reign having 8 unrestricted free agents and then waiving Mackenzie Weiner. Um, so you still got two, four, yeah, 7 of them available of the unrestricted free agents. Mackenzie Weiner is listed here, but she wasn't one of the players that we originally talked about. And I imagine if they, released her from her loan, they're not really going to bring her back. I
yeah,
imagine that they didn't like what they had seen from her um, during her loan with Spokane, which is interesting to me. I mean, they'd brought her on and off, right? Over the last few years. So I'd wanted to see her worked out because I'm Husky, so I'm biased in that regard. I like seeing the Pro Dog to the Reign pipeline, but yeah, they obviously, well, not obviously, but I in my mind they didn't see what they wanted with Weinert's loan. Her numbers, just looking at what statistics the Super League has available, weren't the greatest for what a forward should be. So I understand that. It sucks, but I understand it. And then the free agents. So Laurel Ivory's gone. She signs with the current. The rest of the 7 are unsigned at this current point in time, and I haven't seen anything linking them to anybody, right? But the Reign made farewell posts for 6 of the 8. Obviously, Laurel when she signed with the current, but Quinn, Ziara King, Nikki Stanton, Olivia Athens, and Maya Perez have all gotten goodbye posts or themselves have posted something. With Ziara King, which I think is the main one we'll focus on, um, really, because everyone else was just kind of like, oh, it was great to spend my time here. They had nothing but great things to say with Seattle. Ziara King, the first line in her like written piece of her Instagram post was I'll get it for sure, but it there was disappointment with not getting a deal done, it sounded like, right? And you and I had kind of bounced things off each other, right? When it came to these free agents. We just figured that with Jess Fishlock signing on for one more year, and um with Wales, with just wanting to probably get that one last run in with Wales, that I imagine a 1 year deal would have been done. I just figured that made the most sense. Um, Z got a lot of minutes this past year. I know that had been something she had wanted more of. Um, previously wanted more of that opportunity, that playing time. Um, you know, and I just figured, hey, they're a 1 year deal makes sense for both sides. For the Reign, to bring in a forward that they already know, they're comfortable with, and obviously, I'm sure Z and Jess wanted that, and I imagine the club would have wanted that. And for Z, if hey, Jess retires, um, and Z is like, okay, Seattle, I've loved my time here, but I want to pursue a new journey, maybe a different opportunity. I thought that's why it made sense to me. But yeah, in the first line of her written part of her post to really farewell for the Reign, in a really disappointing turn of events, my time at the Reign has come to an end. Really disappointing turn of events. That leads me to believe something happened in like the contract process, because this comes 2 weeks ago. This isn't when roster decisions were made, right? So I don't know. Were you surprised by that? What did you think about that? And if you've got any further thoughts on the other six that seemingly aren't returning to the Reign.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely surprised, especially because like when we had talked previously, she kind of seemed like one of the sure like locks on the roster. Like it just seemed pretty easy. Like she has obviously all these connections. She's showed great improvement this season compared to previous seasons, like more minutes, all that. And it just seemed like I didn't see the post before you had sent me, but I was pretty shocked just seeing like the um even like the initial post that she was gone. Like that was kind of a initial shock. And then I saw her post about like her what you had just read, and it's definitely clear that something else was going on, but it's that was definitely not something I would have expected from the roster decisions. And then with the rest of them, I we kind of talked about like Athens and um who else? I can't remember off the top of my head, but there were a couple that we had talked about who were like on the bubble. But I didn't think that they were all gonna be like gone. I thought like maybe one would stay and one would go, but it's definitely at least at this point it's clear that like the midfield should be the priority. I mean, like everything's kind of mixed up now. They still kind of have like somewhat of a core group, but some of the people that I thought would still be there are no longer there. So I think definitely the focus with if they're going to get other free agents, I think should be kind of building that midfield into a stronger group.
We'll see if I get interrupted here. The I am at Climate Pledge Arena, so they're going through pregame rehearsals. I think
Oh,
Quinn was the big one. Quinn's just been someone who's been such a stable force for the Reign in that you talk about that midfield, right? And Olivia Athens as well. Yeah, I think there were of this group, I thought Laurel Ivory would make sense to bring back because you feel comfortable, you know her, but because she's been in that backup role and she'd shown well when she was able to get minutes this past year, it makes a lot of sense for her wanting to, get a different opportunity. And with Boston getting a team, obviously Laurel's from that area, it makes sense down the line she'd probably want to try and go and play in front of family and friends and go there. So we'll see if that happens down the line. Obviously, she's in Kansas City now. But yeah, Quinn and Olivia Athens, yeah, right. That's right where I would agree with you. Um, Athens had shown well in her minutes this year. I think this year was a big year for her because in the years past, she was just kind of on the bench, right? And Quinn again, such a dependable force in that midfield. They've been a favorite of Laura Harvey's, and while that's disappointing and I'm shocked by it, it kind of signals to me And this will kind of lead to our final topic, which I'm not there yet. I want to talk about Lou and Mercado. Um, they're showing that they are willing and ready to change after it really went south last year, right? I mean, you're in the playoffs for several years. You make it to the final now 2 years ago, right? Um, and this past season, you get the new branding. The sale goes through. You're looking to a new era. Um, After Megan Rapinoe, the sale obviously holds things up. Um, but I feel like there was hope. You start the season with a win at home, and then it just kind of all goes south and it never picks back up. So, um, that's what, at least with Quinn, someone who's been a stable and especially a favorite of Laura Harvey's, it makes sense. It sounds to me like they are ready to move on, and be committed to change. So with Lou, at least what I've been told from the folks that I'm in tune with is that there's no worry about Lou Barnes returning. What we had been told at the end of the year presser is that General Manager Leslie Gallimore had been in constant contact with Lou Barnes. They want to do right by her. They don't want to rush a decision, because Lou's played a lot of minutes in this league. Obviously, an original. I know when I did my one-on-one interview with her a few years ago, uh, she got emotional talking about the California expansion teams because, I mean, being able to play back home would have been great, I imagine, play in front of her family and her friends on a consistent, because obviously the Rain go down there and they're just up the coast, but it is different, right? Um, but I think what I remember from that interview is she said that Seattle was home and that she had so many connections now. She still goes to California off season. Last I've seen via social that she was there. Um, yeah, and I'm my mind thinks that if Jess is doing this last year, and again, Jess hasn't said this, but we can all I feel like we're all kind of assuming or presuming. I imagine Lou does as well, in my mind. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I don't really see her going anywhere else. And with everything that you said, yeah, it would make a lot of sense. And I agree about Jess too. Like it was a 1 year deal. So, I think yeah, it kind of makes sense.
And Mercado's interesting to me. Oh, this is this seems wrong. They um sorry. I'm looking at Spot Track here to look at the free agents, and they have Maddie Mercado listed as 31 years of age, which is factually incorrect because she is 23 and born the same year I was in 2001. I was like, whoa. I know I messed up a question when we were at the end of the season pressers. Um, because I lumped Mercado in with the U18s like Adamas and McCammon. I figure she's a younger player. That's where I was going with it. And I think Leslie was like, Maddie will be thrilled to think that you think she's 20. I'm like, whatever. Uh, um, um, my thought with Mercado is you drafted her last year in the second round. You obviously saw some things you liked in her. Um, you have some midfield turnover now with Athens and Quinn, whether that be they are moving on and committing to change like I've just talked about, or those players want a different change. Athens would make sense to me. Again, she's ridden the bench for a while. It would make sense if she wants. I'm gonna try this again. God bless Benny Drawbars, but I'm trying to record something. Um, it would make sense to me for Mercado to come back is my main point. Just because, there's the midfield turnover and she's a younger player, they probably would want to see more from her. A loan would have made sense to me, honestly, when they were loaning out all these players like Sam Meza. Sam Meza has to come back, right? So, you know, it's that's where I'm at with those two. I think lose a lock and Mercado, I'm leaning like 70-30. That's my opinion. I don't know anything for certain on her, but that's where my mind is with that. You have anything on Mercado?
Yeah, I would agree. I think she is more towards the lock side as well because, yeah, obviously they saw something in her when they drafted her, and you would think they would want to continue to develop her even if she wasn't getting consistent minutes before. Like, there's a reason that she's on the team. So yeah, I would think they'd want to keep her too.
And then the last thing here is this is kind of a more of an open-ended thing. We've got the uh NWSL sort of key dates, right? Preseason camp should begin January 15th. The primary transfer window opens on the 28th of the month. Team preseason camps must begin by February 5th, and the 40-player preseason roster deadline is that day. So how confident are you, Becca, in this offseason being one where the Reign, like, as much as you can say legitimately improve because, obviously the season has to be played for us to really know that they improved, right? Um, how confident are you in the club's ability to upgrade? Because, we're in this first offseason under the new ownership. You've brought in Lynn Williams, you've brought in a certified goal scorer. Um, and all the talk I've heard from Gallimore is that the club is going to bring in, certified contributors. And I know that I had been told last season that the sale held up some big moves, potentially happening. I won't say names because I don't know for certain, but I know that there were some things held up, and we probably would have seen some of the really fun players that, took the league by storm this past year in a Reign uniform had things, gone through smoothly, which they obviously didn't. So I don't know. Just I want your thoughts on this offseason and how confident you are in bringing in, the right players per se.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if it was a scale, I'd kind of put myself like pretty much in the middle. Like I think obviously they know like it's kind of like only up from here. Like it was a pretty problematic season last season, and they know that there's a lot to build on, and they have things to work on. Um, and they've also kind of the moves that they've been making kind of leave us with at least now kind of leave us with question marks um like what is the reasoning behind all of these different moves. Like it kind of seems at the moment like there is a direction that they're wanting to go in, but it's also like um still kind of trying to figure things out. Again, especially in the midfield, that's kind of my like what my focus has been on because that's kind of been the most mix up so far. So I would say like I am confident, but I'm also hesitant because it seems like they are going in the right direction, but I'm hesitant because like we don't exactly know yet what steps they're going to take to get there.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like some caution is warranted, and I feel some too. I mean, again, I had this whole thing right now about why Jalen Howell had been, moved for this and what, Lynn Williams' situation with the Rain, how long she'll be here will look like. So yeah, that's about what we've got for this week. If we hear anything new, if anything else breaks, we'll do that. If not, there are plenty of storylines to look into to, kind of see what the Reign will look like this upcoming year. What does Sam Meza look like after her loan? Is she the future in the midfield? Stuff like that, like we've done with our Mariners over there, because there's not a lot going on over there, and Becca knows that as well. So, yeah, until we see you next time, take care of yourselves, be well, and do whatever you can to make today a great day.
Hey, Charles.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, where are you going to watch all the away games for Seattle Reign FC this year?
Away games. Well, since Rough and Tumble is the home of Circling Seattle Sports, I was thinking of coming here if that's okay with you.
I think that makes a lot of sense. See y'all here. Yeah, that's good. Otherwise, I would have been like going really slow for the sip too. Okay. So you like that beer?
I love this beer.
What's it called?
Rainy season.
Who's it named after?
Seattle Reign FC. Man, that's good. Doesn't even taste like beer.
I know. Watch out, you're going to be drunk by the end of it.
I'm gonna clink and I'm just gonna do it too hard.
Do it one more time?
One more time?
Wait, hold on. Oh my gosh.
Oh wow. You said it was bad luck.
Circling Seattle sports and rough and tumble. It's too hard to like. You just need to do the clink.
I like that one though. Actually, I could really hear that.
I think we got it. Oh.
Yeah, we got enough now. We're gonna be really drunk. We're like sucked down a pint.
Pretty much finished your beer.
I know.
I was, yeah. Ooh.
Yes, isn't that?
Start, there you go.
Charles, you like this?
Oh, I love this. This
Yeah.
is my favorite thing here.
What's it
To drink.
called? What's it called?
Rainy season.
Rainy season. Who's it after?
Seattle Reign FC.
Yes.
Okay, we can do that again.
Yeah.
You want to wait till it's one comes on? And you're gonna...
Well, this is different,
That
right?
is different. You like that beer?
I love this beer.
Are you old enough?
A year old enough, yes.
Start over. You're
My
so
youthful glow.
look at that. So close.
I remember watching the game that Kelsey set that record, and I think I was trying to talk to my dad, and he was like, "Shut up! This is really important." He told me to shut up. I was like, "Oh, okay."
Oh, did you see Brittany Griner's books coming out?
Is it not out yet?
No, May 7th.
Oh, okay. Oh, Asia's book came out,
Yeah.
and she did an audio.
We should
too.
make this a regular thing where you and I just like giving each other
Sitting.
shit.
regular series. We'll oh, they're at fucking halftime.
Okay. How excited are you for March Madness?
Oh God.
I'm so excited.
Oh wait. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
What are you guys doing for March Madness?
We'll be lying around the block is what we'll be. Just during the games. So come other times. Don't think it's always like that.
It's not? It's like this right now.
Yeah. Yeah, but this is better than
Yeah, and we can, like, when you have events
yeah,
and
we
shit
could have,
you want to
like-
spur up, we can,
Yeah.
obviously dependent on availability, we can do
No,
shit.
we can totally like pick up a game or two. Yeah. Or whatever. All
yeah,
of them.
like whenever,
March Madness at Rough and Tumble.
yeah. And of
Well,
course.
especially if Wazoo's in. Well, Washington teams.
I know. I love
We're
Eladine,
egalitarian here. We're about equality, okay?
Sure. I mean, I had to cover that Charlize, one of the other nominees for Women's Sports Star.
Oh,
Is
yeah,
Wazoo.
yeah.
God damn it. Why are we at halftime? Horrible.
Okay, we don't need to. Let's just pretend we're watching.
They do like replays.
Yeah. And all we're doing is toasting.
I'm 24. That's the age that people ask me about.
I'm not going to tell you what I think.
What do you think?
Don't do that. Don't put that.
I'm recording that one.
Before the video, it's just gonna play that like 10 times. How old do you think I am? Or no, what?
I would go with 27, 28,
That's fine. The three
22.
Okay.
The three guesses that I got most consistently are 24, 28, and 30. And
I
was
can
like,
see all of those.
wow. Are you old enough? Fucking guy. Ooh.
We should do an event with Urban Family too, because we're gonna keep collabing with them
Good.
on rain-themed beer.
There's gonna be another one? What? This is my favorite.
No, well, but it's wintry, so we're gonna go more springy. Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Do we have enough to work
Like a
with?
big belly.
I know.